Tax Assessor Collector Ben Gentle gave the good news to Commissioners Court that the total property valuation in the county increased a whopping $131 million. That's $10 million higher than anticipated, and more of an increase than ever before recorded in Dallas County history. The amended budget that was accepted in January was geared for a $100 million increase. Now this sounds like there'll be plenty in the county coffers, but as Commissioner Mel Price said, it sounds extremely large, but so are the expenditures. This type of an increase will enable the hospital district to receive $787,000 more than anticipated, and the junior college fund will receive an additional $393,000. Only time and the amount of progress the county leaders feel is necessary each year will tell if the county taxes will continue to rise. But as one official had said earlier in the year, Dallas County is growing by leaps and bounds, and the growth will keep the taxes down. This is Carl Mayo at the County Records Building, Channel 8 News.
Let us all who are here assembled.
This is a project-type program aimed at setting up and operating specific projects across the country, primarily in urban settings, aimed at ameliorating some of the conflicts, racial, economic, and so on. At this particular assembly, that program has been reaffirmed and doubled in amount and in time. We have also called upon our churches and our institutions to redeploy significant amounts of their internal budgets so that their own program operations will be directed more toward these specific problems of solving, removing, easing racial conflicts, economic conflicts, etc. We think that every church ought to speak to its times because it lives in time, and we're going to try to do that.
Jerry, you're in somewhat alien territory here in Dallas, but you come in a friendly manner this time. What brings you to town?
Well, Vern, I'm here with Persona Blades. We're doing some promotions on instant replay, and we're visiting with some of their customers, having some sales meetings, and in general, just spreading some goodwill.
If there's anybody in the audience who doesn't know what instant replay is, and I doubt that there are, but perhaps you could explain.
Well, instant replay is a diary of the 1967 football season, from July to January, training camp to cold Sunday afternoon in Green Bay against Dallas, and on to Super Bowl and our third consecutive World Championship. And it's now in paperback form, and the Persona people bought 1,100,000 copies to give away with the razor blades, and I'm making sure they do it.
Jerry, I think perhaps the most well-read chapter of that entire book here in Dallas dealt with that playoff game, particularly, I guess, the most infamous block as far as Cowboy fans are concerned. As a matter of fact, I must tell you this, I got a picture in the mail today. Some fan in North Texas had sent in a picture of you making the block on Jethro Pugh and suggested we post that on the Cowboy door.
I don't really think that's necessary. I think they've seen enough of that block, and I'm sure Jethro has. I'm sure Jethro's seen all that he ever wants to see. As good as it's been for me, it has to have been just equally as distasteful for him. But Jethro's turned into an exceptional football player, by the way.
Have you and he had a chance to renew acquaintances since then?
Really haven't, and I've often wanted to, but the situation never presented itself, and we just haven't had a chance to talk at all.
I once, and I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw you described in print as a gentleman. Do you think you are?
Well, I have enjoyed football, right? And I don't think you have to be a wild man or a beast to play the game. I think I'm a relatively gentle man 99% of the time. On occasion, when I do get wild, I get pretty wild, I guess. I lose my temper very seldom anymore. I think I'm aging a little bit, maturing a little bit. But basically, I think I'm a pretty reasonable person and pretty easy to get along with.
Jerry Kramer, you're also joining Frank Clark of our staff as a CBS analyst this year.
Joining CBS, I'll be back here in Dallas the 13th and 14th of September for the Dallas-Baltimore game. I'm looking forward to it very much. Had the opportunity to go to Seattle to watch Tom Brookshire and Lindsey Nelson work the the Cleveland-San Francisco game, and I was very excited and could hardly keep my mouth shut. I was, watch it, Tom, look, do this, tell him. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll enjoy it.
I think that we've got to find out a lot more about personal identification, for instance, and circumstantial evidence. We got to a point where we try to judge on circumstantial evidence, which is good evidence. It's better than eyewitness evidence in many instances, but you've got to know all the circumstances. I've had very interesting experiences in cases. I have had a couple of cases where the man was within just a few hours of execution, where when we started analyzing the evidence a little bit differently from the conventional method of analyzing the evidence, it turned out that the man was innocent, and the evidence, the very evidence that had been introduced by the prosecution, proved his innocence when you started putting all the circumstances together. A case is a jigsaw puzzle, and you've got to get each piece so it fits, and if you find a place where there's a gap, there's something wrong.
I think after the people who were on strike had a chance to further study the proposal, have a sober reflection on the issues at hand, where they set wage-wise and fringe-wise in relationship to the Bell competitors,